How in the world are you going to compete as a buyer in this crazy seller's market? Hi, I'm Bill Stevenson, and I don't want to be repetitive. I know we talk about this an awful lot over the past few months in these videos. Competing with competitive competitors, strange and confusing. However, we need to talk about it again because a lot has changed. In fact, it's gotten a lot worse just in the past month. So in March, for example, it used to be common that you would go 4 to 5% over asking price. Well, in March, it has not been uncommon to go 10 to 15% over asking price. It used to be okay and actually kind of aggressive to have a $5,000 due diligence fee. Well, now it's more like $10,000. Remember, these are non-refundable. $10,000, $25,000, even $50,000 is not unheard of. Just one example of how this has changed in 1 month. I had an experience recently where there was a home that sold just a few weeks before for $547,000 in a particular neighborhood. And right down the street, another home came on the market at $550,000. I thought that was fair, but I knew we had to be aggressive, so my clients offered $610,000 for that home. Remember, one sold for $547,000 just a few weeks before, offered $610,000 with a $25,000 non-refundable due diligence fee, and we didn't get it. Somebody else apparently made a better offer. So that's just one example. Another example is in the market. This is not my listing or not my buyer, but somebody bought a $350,000 house by putting down a $100,000 due diligence deposit and $250,000 in earnest money. So it's all deposit, and then a substantial proportion of that $100,000 non-refundable. So in this context, what on earth are you going to do? There are some things, some ideas. Well, first of all, you have to be ready to compete. You have to come to fight. You have to come ready for a fight, and so do that. Also, I don't want to crush your dreams, but you're going to have to maybe alter your dreams a little bit, alter your search, so that you can start to build wealth by owning a home rather than renting if you're a first-time buyer. My first piece of advice is don't wait for a collapse. Don't wait for an adjustment in prices so that prices will come down. People have been waiting for that since 2016, and they're very, very sorry that they did. They're very sorry that they did that in 2020 as well, because 2021 prices they just keep going up. It is actually very rare, and I can show you this in the stats. It's very rare for even the worst recessions to cause a downturn in housing prices. It usually just causes a countrywide flattening in housing prices. The exception to that, of course, as we've talked about before, was 2008. At which time the recession, which was caused by housing, actually caused a little bit of a depression in housing prices. So the other two things I'm going to ask you to do in order to compete: number one, alter your search, and number two, alter your financing. So number one, alter your search. You've got to think about your price point. If you are pre-approved, if you can afford a $300,000 home, you can't start by looking at a $300,000 home. You've got to start by looking at homes that are listed at $225,000, maybe $250,000, and maybe $275,000, because you're going to have to leave yourself room to be able to compete with offers that go well over the asking price, because almost every home that is in good condition is going well over asking price now. The second alteration you might need to make is the area where you're looking. Central Durham is very popular. South Durham is very popular. Some parts of North Durham are as well. Maybe you need to start your life. You're in the triangle 30 minutes north of town, or somewhere in an outlying area where homes are a little bit more affordable and things are a little bit less competitive. You still have to be ready to compete even in those areas, but it just isn't going to be as bloody as the fight that you get into in Central Durham, Central Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, and those areas. The third alteration to your search you might want to think about making is looking at homes that are a little bit distressed. And the best way to find those are looking at how long they've been on the market. If you can afford a $300,000 home and you look at a home that's been on the market for 1 day at $300,000, you're not going to be able to buy that home, at least not in that first weekend. You've got to wait to see homes that are on the market 21 days or so, 3 weeks. That's really a long time these days. So going into it that something is wrong with it. I promise you, if it didn't sell in one day, something has got to be wrong with it. And really what all that means is that it's overpriced. And so in those cases, you can look at a $300,000 home and maybe offer a little bit less. But be prepared to put some more money into it later, after you're living in it or before you move in, because there's probably going to be some work that needs to be done. So after altering your search, you're also going to have to think about altering your financing. Now, not many people can do this, but if you can pay all cash for a home, you're going to obviously be far more competitive. That is a fairly rare thing. People can't often do that. So let's talk about other ways to alter your financing. If you've scrimped and saved over the years, and you're always thinking that you needed to put 20% down, go ahead and make your offer at 20% down. But if you've gone over asking price, you may run into an appraisal deficiency. What the appraisal deficiency means is that you may need to alter your financing, go down to a 10% down payment loan, which gives you that extra 10% to put toward an appraisal deficiency. That is the way to solve that problem. That is a way to solve that problem. And if you talk to a financial planner about this, they'll probably agree with me that a 10% down payment is not that bad, because borrowed money right now is historically cheap. So you can feel confident doing that it's not going to ruin you, certainly. So the long and short of it is, be ready for a fight, be confident because you have a great agent working for you, and contact Spotlight Realty if you have any further questions. Thanks so much.